So you are able to see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
No. So now anyway we'll start our discussion. Okay. So last class we have almost completed our plates, the buckling. So we have discussed all the interesting problem whatever are there in plates itself. Okay. So starting from ordinary plate, then this is stiffened plates. Okay. Then circular plate also we have seen in just a brief. Okay. So all these things we have covered in our last class. So this much is sufficient, as far as this course is concerned. So now the next topic, okay, is buckling of the shell structures. Oh, so this is another most important thing. See, generally in our civil engineering, shells are rarely used in only in special cases, because of architecture or something else, like very few structures are the shell structures. Most of them are all these movement resisting frames you would have seen, okay, like multi-story buildings, they go for the standard kind of things. Shells are very rarely used, but you will see a lot of shells in aerospace structures. Okay, this is very very important for them. So aerospace, then in space. Okay, so spatial structures, satellites, rockets and other things. So a lot of these are all, they all come under this shell structure itself, even in this ocean structures, say. Okay, so in oceans and even mechanical structures also, so the shells are widely used. Okay, so this buckling becomes a very very important problem in these things. Now if you see nowadays, the shell the literature say on buckling of shells. So most of the people, if you see nowadays, many of them use this computer numerical methods. So these numerical methods are the popular, and that is the which are widely used nowadays. Okay, like finite element, finite difference. So these methods are the one which are widely used for understanding this buckling of shell structures, because analytical solutions becomes very very complex. So you may not be able to solve also. Closed form solutions are not possible. So you can derive your equation of equilibrium by making some approximations here and there. But finally, if you want to solve the solution, say, it becomes little bit the problematic. Okay. So that's why you see nowadays most of the literature, if you see any papers or any literature, if you see, everybody will be doing this finite element, these type of things, and trying to get some solutions. So this becomes so these are very complex, and you can derive only for some special cases. So of course you can derive for some special cases, and so for benchmarking, say your finite element or finite difference, so you can benchmark with this analytical solutions. Okay, so to just have a feeling or something like that. Okay. So now regarding this shell structures, say, so last class I already told you to see this website. I hope all of you have seen, right? So you are able to see this.
Yes, sir.
You are so this I hope all of you would have seen, right? This web page. So he has given a nice figures and PPT, many things he has given. Okay. So if you see his PPT, say, okay, which is available in that website itself, he has given extremely nice figures for the shell structures. So he has given how the shells they get collapsed or something like that. So you can see many collapse. This is like a water tank, which has collapsed due to buckling. You can see how complicated shape it is. So similarly, he has shown many variety of structures. Okay, so this also you followed, right? A conical water tank. Okay, so here also you can see. So the most important thing here is the buckling here. Okay, so if you see this buckling, this pattern say here, so you can see how this has buckled, what type of buckling modes they exist. So it is something like you will see a wavy kind of a structure here. Now this is also buckling due to an earthquake, okay, in some California. So all these tanks got buckled here. See, if we look at closely here, you can see the buckled mode shape. So this is, you can see how the buckling is looking like here. Now, see how it has buckled. See how many, like if you want to write in terms of sine waves, say, so how many sine waves are there now? See, sine wave means half sine wave means one peak actual. Okay, full sine wave means one up, one down. So two peaks will be there. Okay, so now if you see in radial direction, if you want to fit a sine wave, so how many sine waves are there here? This is how many things are there, and what is the buckling mode? How many sine waves are required here? Yeah, approximately one sine wave will be
More
sufficient.
than,
More than
no, sir. No. More than four, I think.
more than 4 or 5 or 6, in the radial direction, not in the axial direction. Okay, see, axial direction is fine, but in the radial direction, so you will get these type of variety of things also. So sometimes these type of buckling say, so some textbooks, if you see, they call this also as a diamond buckling also. Okay, they just a name, the shapes they give. Okay, so now you can see, so now here if you see, say this this type of buckling also you can see here. Now here, what is the buckling mode shape in radial direction? How many sine waves are there? Or how many these things are there here? And radial direction, how it has buckled? Yeah,
So one half sine wave.
one half only. So this is what people call as this axisymmetric, this elephant foot buckling or something. So this is a terminology used in buckling of shell structures. Okay, so sometimes you can have this type of buckling, sometimes you can have this type of buckling, and then non-symmetric also. So this is also possible actually in shell structures. So this also wall, this is also buckled water tank. He has given excellent examples. You can see nicely the buckling here. So you can see this type of bucklings also in this water tanks. Okay, so now similarly, say you have this nuclear containment. You will see, right, the nuclear dome they construct. Of course, the radioactivity and other things, the dome will be very thick, almost I think 4 meter will be the thickness of the wall itself, that concrete dome, because of radioactivity they use. So this buckling becomes very very important structure, okay, in nuclear domes. Then in this cooling towers, say, you would have seen, right, this type of cooling towers in any power plant structures. So buckling becomes very very important for this type of shell structures. And of course pipelines, this also very important. Ocean structures routinely used, and these type of things are much much complicated. You have seen a pipe here. See now here, so you can see this is like a supporting truss or whatever. You can see how many openings are there. Say now, if you want to understand buckling of this one, it becomes very complex. Analytical solutions are not possible. The only way you can do it in the finite element platforms. Now this is using LNG tank, liquid nitrogen, that type of tanks itself. So buckling becomes very important for these type of tanks also. Okay. So analytical solutions are not possible, but only you can do by this FEM. So now you can see here the buckling mode shape. See how many waves are there here. So in the radial direction, say you can see, you can read the number here. So how many circumferential waves are
39.
39? So you can see
39.
this many. Of course, it depends on the size and other things also, but these many things are possible actually. Okay, so in the buckling. So this also is a space structure. Okay, I hope that International Space Station or whatever you use, right, rockets, geekets, and others. So shell structures comes. So this buckling becomes very very important for all these structures. And because it is a space, they want always lightweight actually. Okay, so that fuel consumption will be very less. So this type of thin shell space structures they cannot avoid. So buckling becomes a big problem, even in the rockets, all other things itself. Okay. So this is a typical rocket. So you have a steel dome here. You have all the all kinds of problems are there. And when it is subjected to thrust, say, so it will be under full compression will be there. So there is a chance of buckling. Okay. So this is how the buckling modes are here. You have seen here. So pre-buckling, the deflection is like this. The fourth buckling modes, you can see the waves here. You follow. So this is how buckling. And I think there are, if you see in Google, you can have a excellent, I think, examples are there where the rockets have failed due to buckling during the launching stage itself. Okay, so there are many examples are there. So you can go through. This is I think he has given some human brain, and I have no idea. Okay, so buckled folds, something like this he says. So anyway, coming to this one, so this is a very very important figure which all of us should understand actually. Okay, so now if you see this figure, say, oh God. So this figure is very, very important actually. Okay, so now we have a cylindrical cylinder kind of a thing. Okay, so now when you apply the load, say, so this is a load versus it is anyway the end shortening or whatever here, because it is subjected to compressive load. Okay, so now the load deformation curve, if you see, say, it goes on like this at this point A. Okay, so this is a point A where you will see this type of deflection. You can see in the top end, say, sorry, you can see in the top. So you can see this deflection is happening, which is axisymmetry. This bulge is happening at this end, so it is axisymmetry kind of a thing. So now what happens in most of the cylindrical shells is, so at this point A itself, it has started the buckling, that is giving away the things itself, and after this points it cannot carry any load, and its failure paths will be two types. One is A, B, C, that is a failure path A, B, C. So this is what we call as this axisymmetry buckling itself, which means the shell will break in like this only in one bulge, one half sine wave or something in the radial direction. Sometimes what happens is, in some special cases, once it reaches this point B, say, so this B he calls as the bifurcation point or something. So what happens is, suddenly instead of this symmetric buckling, say, you will see this asymmetric buckling. You can see here the structure here, it is not symmetric. It's a horrible kind of a thing. Bifurcation point will be there, and then this shell can break in A, B, D. So two types of patterns are there. One is like symmetric form, other one is asymmetric form. It depends on the type of the structure. It depends on its slenderness ratio, thickness, how much thin the shell is. So they all play a major problem. Okay, so in buckling, so now so whenever in cylindrical shells, there are basically two types. One say A, B, C, one failure path. So A, B, D. So this A, B, C is sometimes also known as snap through buckling. Okay, whereas A, B, D is this asymmetric buckling itself. So this is a very, very important thing in shells. So some shells, so this is a generalized behavior. Two types of patterns will be there. Some shells say, okay, so you can have this bifurcation point coming down, and at this point before reaching A itself, at B itself, it can go to this, also can happen actually, whatever things are there. Okay, so two types of buckling modes are there: A, B, C, snap through buckling, or symmetric buckling, A, B, D. So that is your bifurcation buckling or something, he says, or it is asymmetric buckling. So you can see all the structures, whatever you have seen, say, the previous structures. So this I have here the nice examples are there here. So now this is what type of buckling here? What is the failure path here? So two types are there, as I told you, right? So A, B, D and A, B, C, symmetric and asymmetric. So this is a snap through buckling, we say. You understand, right? So this is a snap through buckling. So axisymmetric. But what is this type of a buckling here? Now, what is happening here? So this is not a symmetric kind of a thing. One side you have, so this is that bifurcation point comes and it collapses. See, like for example, this water tower collapse, say, he has given, right? This one, what type of buckling mode shape it is? How it collapsed? No, axisymmetric buckling, or it is bifurcation, this one? No, bifurcation only, because symmetric means you should have just increased this one. So after some points, its failure path is this bifurcation buckling itself. Okay, so this so it depends how, which mode it buckles or how it buckles. It depends on the type of the problem. Okay, so here also what type of buckling it is. So this problem also, this water tank, see how it has buckled. See, around the 5 circumferential waves, it is also not axisymmetry. Axisymmetry means what happens at this end, say, whole thing should expand, like in one direction. That is what we call as snap through buckling. But here what is happening here also you are seeing several these type of failure waves or something. So this goes towards that bifurcation buckling itself. Okay, so this is the most important thing in shell buckling. See, he has given this figure. So this water tanks, or this I think wine tank or whatever, so this has buckled in axisymmetric mode, whereas this you can see the non-symmetric buckling, that is the bifurcation. So this is what is observed in practice. Okay, so this is what you followed, right? People generally observe in the practice. So these type of bucklings are there. So now let us study this in detail, how to understand this buckling and this. And of course, This fellow's, he has given excellent, information there. Variety, he has shown all the typical types of buckling mode shapes also. You can see nicely, how these things are buckling. So I suggest all of you to go through, so these also, you see the buckling here, you can see beautiful, these type of things are there. Okay. So here also you can have stiffened shells, unstiffened. You can make things, more complex also. Okay. So you please, see these slides. Okay. So to have a nice feeling about, the buckling, he shows so many things. I think he gives in his website some, I think, software also he has given, for finding the buckling loads per shells. You can see this, this one. Okay. So this is a very good website, and he has given nice things itself. So I have suggest all of you to go through this. You can download. He has written a beautiful paper also. Okay. So I think some pitfalls or something which is published, I think, in ASC. He has discussed all these things in great detail. But anyway, that much details are not required for this course. We are only in the analytical solutions only. Okay, for simple things. So, but if you are more interested, you can proceed that one. Okay. So now let us see how to derive the analytical solutions for shells, and what is the equation of equilibrium also. Of course, we have several limitations, but what is the equation of equilibrium, at least to start. Okay, of a shell. So as already I told, shell is a very, very, complex kind of thing. Okay, it is not possible for all kinds of to derive these equations for these shells. So now we will derive only one equation itself, that is a linear theory of this cylindrical shells. Okay. So we will just derive this equation. These are, they are also famous equation, Donald's equations. Okay, so these are famous work. See, like plates, what was the plate equations known as? So in plate theory, what is the equation we have derived? We told, no, some names we have given. What was the names? Anyone of you remember that whatever the plate
Kirchhoff plate theory.
Kirchhoff plate theory, but the final equations is that is including the large deflection, everything, whatever the d del to the power of 4 w minus nx dou square w by dou x square. So that equation is known as von Karman. You remember, right? Von Karman plate equation. Of course, Kirchhoff theory is nothing but the Kirchhoff. What is the main contribution of Kirchhoff? That assumptions. Okay, plane sections, plane, and then the boundary conditions. When you are having a beam or simply supported or fixed, say, how do we write the boundary conditions? So that comes under Kirchhoff. That is fine. So Kirchhoff theory also is, we call them. But if you include large that dou w by dou x whole square, the higher order terms in the strains, say, so then that theory we call as von Karman plate theory. So now in shells, say, so we use this Donald's theory. Okay, so he derived these equations. So here also lot of assumptions are involved. Okay, they are not straightforward because it is very complex. Or otherwise, if you want to solve, if you want to solve in this kind of a, what we are doing here is we have one advanced structural mechanics. Okay, the theory where you directly write everything in terms of stresses itself. Okay, and we have this strength of material theory where you don't talk in terms of stresses, you talk in terms of shear force, bend stress resultant. So two theories are there here. So what in plate also or in shell also, what we are doing is like a half kind of a thing. We want to write our equations in this stress resultants itself. Then we have the problem. If you want to get a closed form, say, you can use your advanced structural mechanics spherical coordinate system. You can write the equations and you can solve yourself. Okay? That is also perfectly fine. But here we will go as per our strength of materials, because that is very easy to understand. Okay. So here we make some assumptions here. So one is the thickness of the shell, say. Okay, so the thickness of the shell is small compared to other dimensions. Okay, so this is the first important assumption. It's a very thin shell. So thin shell theory, this is okay. So this is the first assumption we make. Then we make that lateral deflections, say. So lateral deflections are small. compared to other dimensions. So compared to the thickness of the shell. Okay, so this is another dimension, and of course we assume that homogeneous, isotropic and all those things. Okay, isotropic and Hooke's law you followed, right? So this is another assumption, okay, which we try to do. Then of course you see plane sections remain plane, so lines normal to the middle surface, so this is essentially a plane surface, plane sections. Middle surface is before bending, they remain straight, and normal during bending. Okay, so this is something like the plane sections remain plane. So this is another assumption, and of course we say that shell is a perfect cylinder. Okay, so there are no imperfections. That is the meaning of this statement. But in practice, you can have a lot of the imperfections, and it is a loaded concentrically. So concentrically, at every cross section. So these are the assumptions. Okay, so they are very easy to remember. One is a thin shell. Lateral deflections were very small compared to thickness we are assuming. Then homogeneous isotropic. Then plane sections remain plane, same as your Euler-Bernoulli beam theory. Then of course it is a perfect cylinder, and we are assuming that there are no imperfections. Like everything is a perfect kind of a thing. So now so once you do this plane sections remain plane, say what happens? So the thickness of the shell, if it is h, so now once you assume plane sections remain plane, what happens? So what happens in our main structure? And radius of curvature is r. See what is the main use of this plane sections remain plane? What happens? What happens when you say plane sections remain plane?
The shear effects are removed.
No, that is fine. But when you say plane sections remain plane, say the main advantage of plane cross sections is if we assume that they are rigid, no need to talk in terms of stresses. Okay, so automatically you will have stress resultants. Of course, the shear other things comes later, but the main advantage of plane sections remain plane and rigid kind of a thing is no stresses, only stress resultants. So this is our shell. Okay, so draw nicely. So this is our shell structure. So if you draw nicely, so this is our shell, how it looks like. I think I can draw this straight line. Okay, so this is our typical the shell structure. So here the coordinate system is taken like this. Of course, because of plane cross sections became plane and other things is same. So the advantage is so no need to talk about thickness shell goes away. Only the centroidal surface, that is only important for us. Okay, so let us say this is my x-axis. Okay, and the displacement is u. So now we take z-axis, that is towards the radius or whatever. So this is my z-axis, and let us say displacement is w. Okay, then the other coordinate system say. So we take this as the y. So this is a circumferential the coordinate system. So we are having three coordinate systems are there. So compared to the plates, say, so all of them are more or less same, but y is around the circumferential the coordinate. So we say x-axis. Okay, this is parallel to the cylinder. Okay, so parallel to the cylinder here. Then y-axis say the tangent. So tangent to the circular arc or the circumferential circular arc. Then z-axis say this is normal to the middle surface. Normal to the middle surface, of course, directed towards center of curvature. Okay, so these are our coordinates. So this is our the coordinate system is done. Okay, so now because of so the shells, what one does is so now since everything plane sections remain plane and all other things are there, so now so no need to talk in terms of the stresses. So this is our radius of curvature. You see, it goes like this. So no need to talk in terms of the stresses at all. Okay, so one generally followed, right? They talk in terms of this stress resultants itself. So what are our stress resultants? So here also we have the stress resultants. So nx, ny, okay, then nxy, then we have the shear forces qx, qy, then two bending moments, say mx, my, then the twisting moments mx, y, and then yx. So these are our twisting moments in shells. Okay, so these are our twisting moments. So you can write you can draw all these things also. So how they look like. So the same fashion, say we can derive everything. Sorry. Okay, so this is our shell. So you can draw. So this is ny. Okay, so this is nx, and we have the nx. Then we have nyxy. Okay, so you can draw. Then we have nyx. Okay, so these are our axial the forces here. So of course this is ny, and we have this nyx like that. So these are the in plane axial and in plane shear forces. Now similarly, so we can even draw the bending moments also. So same whatever we have done previously for the plate. So shell and plate, both of them are same. Okay, the only difference is the shell has a curvature. That's the only thing. So now we have the shear forces and bending moments also. So this is our qx. Then we have qy. Okay. So then we have this twisting moment actually. So this is myx, and then we have bending moment also. That is my. Okay. So then this side also we have this mx, and we have here also the twisting moment. So that is mxy. So all other things are there here also. So same whatever we used defined for the plate theory, say so same things are perfectly valid for shells itself. Only thing is it is difference is all are same. It has a curvature, and the only difference between plate and shell is this, especially if you are talking in terms of axis. So this is y-axis is the main thing. So we have taken it as a tangent to the circular arc. Okay, so this is the only difference. All other terms are going to remain same itself. So now to derive these equations of equilibrium, say okay, so it is straightforward. So say sigma fx is equal to 0, then moment equilibrium, whatever we derived previously. Same all those expressions whatever we have done. So in a similar fashion, say you can derive here also. So here also it appears everything remains same. Dou nx by dou x plus dou nxy, say by dou y is equal to 0. Then other equations you can derive. So dou ny by dou y plus dou dou x is equal to 0. Okay, so now in z direction, say so only in z direction you have one extra term comes into picture, because in the z direction if you see we are having a shell because of the curvature of the shell, say so this is if we take this as z direction here. So what happens here is so if this is r, say here, so this angle whatever we have, so if you take a small portion which is arc length, if it is dy, the circumferential direction, and this is r, say so this angle will be dy by r. So we have ny, and we have ny here. So now what happens is this ny will have a components. Okay, so ny into dy by dr. So this comes into picture in this direction. But in x direction, what happens is because it becomes that theta, if it is very small, say previously also we have neglected. Okay, so if theta is very small, cos theta is I think 1 and sin theta is same as theta. So in z direction you have one extra term comes into picture. So this has to be included in our calculations. Okay, so that's the only difference between shell and plate in this Donald's theory. So the equation will be same previously whatever we have written, nx into dou square by this one. So 2nxy dou square w by dou x dou y plus ny. Okay, so here you have dou square w by dou y square plus 1 by r. Okay, so this this is the one extra, so this term will be extra, okay, in our shell theory. Apart from that, all other things, and of course we will have components from others also. We are assuming that the thetas are very small or something we followed, right? So we neglect all other things itself. So this comes from the axial the in-plane forces in z direction. So in z direction, apart from this in-plane forces, we also have this shear forces. Okay, this also have to be taken. So all other things are going to remain same. So you remember, right, in plate theory how we derived this side we had nx ny, other side you remember, no, we expanded in terms of Taylor series, and the same whatever we are doing exactly same to same we are doing here. So like what I, so here when deriving the equation, so if the shear force is qx, say what will be the shear force here, you remember, right, we wrote in dou qx by dou x into dou y or whatever dx or something. So we derived all these the equations. Okay, one side if it is q, expand in terms of Taylor series, so all those things you have to do same thing here also. So now for the shear forces, say in the vertical direction you have this one only, dou x by dou qx by dou x, dou qy by dou y into dx dy. So this is a contribution coming from the shear forces. This comes from in plane the shear force, in plane axial and in plane shear itself. And then we also had the moment equilibrium also. So if you take moment equilibrium about the x-axis and y-axis also, so same whatever we derived for plate, almost same thing you will get derived for shell also. So and finally if you combine all these expressions, say, okay, so you get using the moment equilibrium. So dou square mx, final equation will be dou x square minus 2 dou square mxy by y plus dou square my by dou y square plus nx dou square w by dou x square plus 2 times nxy, okay, dou square w by dou x dou y plus ny. Okay, so this will be 1 by r plus dou square w by dou y square. So this is the equation actually after doing moment equilibrium. Previously we have derived for plate, same to same you derive for shell. Everything remains the same. Only thing is this is the only the extra term which comes in our shell's equation, especially in this Donald's equation. Okay, so to simplify, so this is the final the equation. So now anyway, these are the stress resultants. We have written the equation of equilibrium. So now we have to reduce it to, we have to write this in terms of displacements. Okay, so now let us see this force deformation relations or stress resultant deformation relations. Okay, now so here also we have two things. So the displacement in a shell, say we write as a combination of this one. So v is v naught plus vb. So okay, so where u naught v naught, say these are all defined at the middle surfaces, that is at the neutral axis or whatever. Okay, and this is at any point. So any point you have this bending will be there. So the subscript b stands for bending terms. So similarly, say, so whatever stresses also epsilon x, say you have epsilon x naught plus epsilon xb, and similarly epsilon y is epsilon y naught plus epsilon yb, and of course your shear also, say whatever is at the middle surface plus you have this extra bending of your cross sections. Okay, so this comes, so these are our terms. So now movement curvature, previously we have written all those things. So for plate, whatever we derived here also you will get, if you do all the calculations, you will get more or less the same equations only. So mx is minus d dou square w by dou x square, dou square w by dou y square. So all these equations remain same. Dou square w by dou y square plus mu dou square w by dou x square. Then mxy, say a twisting moment is also minus, sorry, this d into 1 minus mu dou square w by dou x dou y. So all those equations you can derive, nx, ny and other things also. So now this is how the things come. So now if you see this, so now this strains displacement, if you write, say, so epsilon x naught, okay, so that is at the middle surface, we write as dou u naught by, you see, dou x, okay. Now similarly, say, so epsilon y naught. So here we have an additional term, so this will be dou v naught by dou y, because y is a circumferential coordinate, okay. So we get one extra term, that is w by r, okay. So you can find out yourself, so you can take arc, say. Okay, so this is a dash b dash and this is b, okay. So you have one extra term, if you take this as a d theta and the radius of curvature is r, okay. So you can find out that you have one radial deformation, say, if it is w, okay, if radial deformation is w, if it is w, okay. So you can see the strain in the element, okay, that is in AB. So if you try to find out so change in length of the diameter or something, so you have AB minus a dash b dash by AB. So if you calculate, say, so this turns out to be w by r itself, okay, because of this other direction also. So this extra term will comes in our because y is in the circumferential direction, so there is an extra term which comes in the calculations. And of course all other terms are going to remain same, shear strain and others. So this also will be dou u naught by dou y plus dou v naught by dou x. So these are the shear strains. So now we can write the relationship, okay. So nx is sigma x naught into h. So you can write, so stress strain relations also you can do epsilon x naught plus mu into epsilon y naught. So this is stress resultant versus strain relations, okay. So ny is sigma y naught into h. So this is eh by 1 minus mu square epsilon y naught plus mu into epsilon x naught. So you substitute all the terms nxy. So this is tau x y naught into h. So this also will be eh by 2 into 1 plus mu into gamma x y naught, okay. So these are our relations. So now here you substitute epsilon x naught then epsilon y naught in this expression, say, in terms of displacement. So you will have nx is equal to, so eh by 1 minus mu square dou u naught by dou x plus mu dou v naught by dou y minus mu w by r. So you will get the stress resultant displacement relations. And similarly ny eh by 1 minus mu square w by r. So just a substitution. So dou u naught by dou x and similarly say nxy. So eh into 1 minus mu by 2 into 1 minus mu square dou u naught by dou y plus dou v naught, say, by dou x. So these are the relations. So just a substitution, one this one and something like strains in terms of displacements, then you substitute in stress stress strain relations and then stress resultants. So these are the relationships actually between your stress resultants, in plane stress resultants and the displacements. So now in the shell structures here also what one does is so the middle surface forces whatever we are having, okay. So in the middle surface, say, so there are basically what one does, there are two things are there. One is the primary also we have to include in the shell structures. So the primary forces, okay, which are caused by the applied loads, okay. This is one extra thing which you have to do it in the shells, so which are present before buckling. prior to buckling. Okay, see, like for example, if you have a very thin shells, say, so when it is subjected to axial load, what happens? What type of stresses will be developed? So generally in stress in shells, say, this type of shell structures, what is the most important stress? You remember in thin cylinders. See, whatever load comes in the thin cylinders, okay, thin cylindrical shells, it is resisted by which quantity?
Membrane forces.
No, membrane is fine. I am talking about in strength of materials theory, you would have studied, right? Thin cylinders, when subjected to loads, external pressure, internal pressure, say, in thin cylinders. What do you call that? How are they?
Circumferential stress, hoop stress.
Hoop stresses, say. Okay. So now what happens, before buckling also, when you apply load on a cylindrical shell, say, what happens? You will have these hoop stresses. Okay. What is a hoop stress? Hoop stress is nothing but a circumferential stress. So we have already said, right? See, our philosophy was what we said was if I have a column, say, when it is subjected to the load, what we said was before buckling, okay, nothing happens here, but suddenly, when P reaches P critical, so then, you have this type of things itself, okay. So here also, so when in the shells structures, here we have to divide them into two pieces, okay. One is caused by the upload loads which are present prior to the buckling, and then the secondary forces, okay. So you can divide them into two pieces, the secondary forces, say, so which arises as a result of a buckling. So sometimes, so this will also be included actually. Okay, so obvious, so here what they do is so in these relations, say, okay, so your nx, whatever we write here, so we write like this: eh by 1 minus mu square, so dou u naught by dou x plus mu dou v naught, say, by dou y minus mu w by r, plus we add these terms also. Okay, so these are like the primary forces. So ny also we have that big expression plus py and nxy, say. So this same whatever expression we wrote, we have this sxy. Okay, so these are the middle. So these are the forces, so px, py and sxy, say. So these are the internal forces, which are existing prior to buckling. See, because of curvature, all things becomes complicated. Include all the terms itself. So now here, so now we have to substitute actually. So now so you substitute all the terms here. So this is so you substitute. So sometimes what happens? This expression also you can write as so nx, say, okay. So this nx can be written as n dash x plus px. Okay. Similarly, ny is n dash y plus py, and nxy. So this is n dash xy plus sxy. So where n dash x, n dash y, n dash xy are nothing but these terms actually. The first term. These are the secondary forces. So these are the secondary forces due to buckling. Okay, so we can write both in different this one. So now what we try to do is so now we have nx, ny, nxy. So these all these expressions, say, okay, and nxy is written in terms of deflections and others. So these things you substitute in our equations of equilibrium. So this equation, that is a moment equilibrium, then we have this expression also, dou nx by this expression, then this expression, say. So these three equations if you substitute, okay, so two force and one moment equilibrium, if you substitute all these terms, so you will get our Donald's equation. Okay, so there are three equations are there, so you get so dou square u naught by dou x square, so 1 plus mu square by 2 dou square u naught by dou y square plus 1 plus mu by 2 dou square v naught by dou x dou y minus mu dou w by dou x. So this is equal to 0. So first equation comes. The second equation, say, mu naught by dou y square plus 1 minus mu square by 2 dou square v naught by dou y square, so dou x square, plus 1 plus mu by 2 dou square u naught by dou x dou y minus 1 by r dou w by dou y. Okay, so this is how the expression comes here. So here u naught, then v naught w, here we have v naught, then v naught, then this is all v's and these are all this one. Okay, so 2 and then the moment equilibrium equation. Okay, the moment equilibrium also if you substitute, say, so all the terms dou to the power of 4 w by dou x to the power of 4, the same plate equation, w by say dou x square dou y square plus dou to the power of 4 w by dou y to the power of 4 plus, so n dash x plus px dou square w by dou x square plus n dash y plus py 1 by r plus dou square w by dou y square. Okay, plus so 2 times n dash xy plus sxy dou square w by dou x dou y. So these are the famous 3 equations actually, which are also known as Donald's the equations. So you have 3 displacements. So u naught, v naught, w, u naught, v naught, and then w. Okay, so 3 equations are there. So 3 are there. Okay, so and these what type of equations are there? See how what type of equations are these 3? They are of course partial differential equations, but if you see these are all coupled equations actually. Okay, so the first equation if you see you have u naught is there, then v naught is there, w is there. It is a coupled equation. The second equation also has v naught, u naught, and then w. This is also a coupled equation. Of course, n dash x has that u naught, v naught, and other terms will have. So these 3 are basically a coupled. You see the PDEs are there. You followed, and of course non-linearity and other things also comes, but these are the coupled PDEs are there actually. So sometimes in general in the calculations sometimes what they say is this the secondary forces n dash x, n dash y, and of course n dash xy. So these are very the initial curvature and all those things. If you can neglect to say the initial curvature these things if we try to neglect here in our calculations because these are after buckling, but px, py, and sxy are the loads which are before the buckling itself. And this curvatures if you neglect sometimes one can also write this equation as minus d dou to the power of 4 w by dou x to the power of 4 plus 2 dou x square dou y square plus dou to the power of 4 w. So dou y to the power of 4, so plus px. Okay, dou square w by dou x square plus py plus py by r. Okay, plus 1 by r. So eh by 1 minus mu square. So dou v naught by dou y minus w by r plus mu dou u naught by dou x. Okay, plus 2 times sxy dou square w by dou x dou y. Okay, so some forces also, some terms can be ignored because of the higher orders and other things also. So if you substitute all those things, so the third equation becomes like this. Okay, so these 3 are known as so this equation or this equation. Okay, so these 3 are basically they are known as the Donald's equation. Okay, the Donald's thin shell equations are something they call. And now what this Donald's what he does is he has combined these 3 into one equation. So like we did for the plate equations. So you have to do some the algebra here. So suppose if this is equation 1, then this is equation 2, and this is equation 3. Say some little bit algebra is involved here. So like for example so you multiply this equation, say, okay, that is so dou square by dou x dou y on equation 2. Okay, Then operate this one dou square x by dou x square and dou square y by dou y square both. Okay, so on equation 1. Okay, and then you add all the you can obtain some 3 equations, and you can do a lot of algebra here. So finally similarly one more operation you have to do. So you will get some dou to the power of 4 u is equal to mu by r. Okay, dou cube w by dou x cube minus 1 by r. So dou cube y by dou y square into dou x. So a lot of algebra is there. One more operation is there, but I will write the final the expression here. So after doing all those things so you get a the equation like this. One equation you have in terms of w. So del to the power of 4. So px into dou square w by dou x square plus py into dou square w by dou y square plus 2 times sxy. So dou square w say by dou x dou y plus by r square dou to the power of 4 w by dou x to the power of 4 is equal to 0. Okay, so you can combine all these 3 equations into one big the equation. Now what is the order of this equation now? So after doing a lot of algebras, 8th order thing, plate equation is what is order?
4th order, sir.
Plate was 4. Now shell, because of all these complications it comes to a 8th order the partial differential equation. Now you can see how do you solve a 8th order differential equation. It's a very you understand, right? A complicated thing. That's why analytical solutions nobody goes, but everybody goes through this finite element the things itself. Okay, so anyway I will stop here. Next class we will see how to solve these type of PDEs. Okay. So fine. So only I think today you two only has come to class, eh?
Yes, sir.
I think